Okay, we're on to lesson 12 of Math 1111, Quantitative Literacy. That is my wife and I's dog, Ducky. Ducky's kind of partial to me, so we could say Ducky's my dog. I wish everybody could be Ducky for a day. Ducky has such energy, such vitality. There's no holding this dog back, man. He takes life by the horns. So hopefully you also will get to be able to take life by the horns. Today's agenda: Praxis prep, review material, classwork contemplation, same structure every single day. As far as the Praxis prep goes, you know the drill. We want you to pass this test, get a test, and be successful at it. Increase your test savvy so that your career as a teacher can commence. Here we go. Stop and start. You know the drill. Okay, so we want to compare 2006 with 2002. The percent increase is the absolute difference over the reference or the original amount. Remember, we're talking about comparing this to 2002. That's what we are referring to, referring to. So 2006 is 1900 minus the 1430 for 2002 over 1430, which is 470 over, again, I forgot to change the 1580 to 1430, but I did divide by 1430. So 470 divided by 1430 is 0.30, better known as 30%. Here we go. You know the drill. Stop and start. Okay, I actually didn't change this question from last time because I would have had to come up with a bunch of new choices, so I didn't do that. But the bottom line is, the one that's not represented is 60. There is no 60. We said 3 bar 2 is 32. There is no 6 bar 0. So therefore 60 is the one that's not represented. Okay, what's the product of -1, 4, -3, and 6? Go ahead. No choices, just tell me the product. Okay, so remember we talked about the rules for multiplying and dividing, and we said a really good way to remember it is every time you multiply or divide by a negative, you change the sign. If it's not by a negative, just keep whatever the sign is. Okay, so -1 times 4 is -4. See, I multiplied by a positive, so I didn't change the sign. It was a negative, it stayed a negative. Now I'm multiplying by a negative, so I have to change the sign to a positive. -4 times -3 is 12. I'm multiplying by a positive, just keep the sign, 72. So if you multiply by a positive or a negative, change the sign. If you keep multiply by a negative, change the sign. Multiply by a positive, keep the sign. All right, next up. Go ahead, you know the drill. Oh, of course you want to find the perimeter. Okay. Find the perimeter. Okay, so Pythagorean Theorem, leg squared plus leg squared is hypotenuse squared. So n squared plus 9 squared is 15 squared, n being the missing side. N squared and 81 is 225. Subtracting 81 from, I don't know why this says 225 over here. That should say 81. Subtracting 81 from both sides, I get 144. N is 12. And the perimeter will be 12 plus 15 plus 9, which is 36. Okay, don't know how long it's been since you've solved equations, but I showed you last time. This isn't a hard one by any stretch of the imagination. So solve and tell me the value of -8x plus 21. Go ahead. Oh, sorry for the delay there. I just yawned. All right, so 3x minus 10 is 17. Adding 10 to both sides, 3x is 27. Dividing by 3, x is 9. Then I substitute the 9 in here because it's the same exact x, of course. -8 times 9 is -72. Plus 21 is 51. What's the greatest common factor of 42 and 35? So we're looking for the biggest number that divides into both of them. Remember, factors are small and divide into the numbers. Multiples are bigger. Pretty easy to remember because when you multiply, you make bigger numbers, as long as you're multiplying by whole numbers. Go ahead. Okay, so do you remember the factors divide into numbers? Remember, like the factor trees in elementary school? You broke the number down, like you took, let's say, the factors of 100 or 20. you break it down to 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 are the factors, and they divide into the 20. So what is the biggest factor that divides into both 42 and 28? Oh, I should have said 42 and 35. Sorry about that. It should be 35 there. It's going to be 7. But let's say you're not sure of what number divides into both 42 and 35. I did correct it here. Just plug in the choices. More than one might work. Choose the biggest if that's the case, because you want the greatest common factor. Test savvy, guys. Very, very, very important. Okay, so that represents all of our Praxis prep.